Hello and welcome to Nami Nation by Kai's Korner Productions. I'm Jaclyn, known as Quillful Writer on social media, and I'm here to bring you some of the latest gaming news from our podcast. First up is The Ghost of Yōtei, which is set to be released in 2025. And while it's not a direct sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, it is a really exciting game based on the gameplay elements we have seen so far in the clips that have been released. Sony has shown us tundras and grasslands for peak screenshot material that's very on par with Ghost of Tsushima. I'm sure I will absolutely be filling my own gallery with dozens of shots of all of the different terrain they've set up already, because it's just beautiful to look at. And they're really living up to the breathtaking design of that first game. That said, it is based in 1603, which is over 300 years after Jin Sakai's story, and there is some of the fandom that's not thrilled about leaving him behind. Part of this is just because everyone loves Jin Sakai and wants to see more of him, but part of it is the usual expected backlash to a female protagonist, Atsu. Somehow these players must have missed the women with katanas that were in the first game and also overlooked a wealth of Japanese history that features the same, with this belief that only men have katanas. Those detractors are fewer and farther between in my experience, although definitely louder. For the most part, the fandom seems really excited to see a new installment in the Ghost legacy, with different weapons and the same absolutely scenic view of historic Japan, based in what's now known as Hokkaido, and I could not be more thrilled to see this game come out. For those of us who have needed a reason to look forward to 2025, we found it. If you want something a little closer to be excited about, Dragon Age Veilguard is going to be released in October, although there is some difficult news from BioWare about the choices that were made in Inquisition and how they'll affect the world state in Veilguard. All of the choices from Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 will not be featured in this game, which does make sense when you consider how far apart they are from each other, but the stumbling block for a lot of players is that only 3 choices from Inquisition will end up impacting Dragon Age Veilguard at all. This is your warning for spoilers. If you don't want to know which choices from Inquisition will affect Veilguard, here's your hint to pause this or skip ahead. All of the choices that affect Dragon Age Veilguard include who your Inquisitor romanced, whether the Inquisition stayed together or disbanded, and whether your Inquisitor wanted to stop or save Solus. If you got the DLC, you'll know that 2 out of those 3 choices are in the DLC. And when that optional story was released, the people who played it were pretty surprised to find that crucial story elements were kept in a side DLC. And at the time, it was just sort of a confusing decision because most DLC is additional content for really devoted fans who have the money to spend on that sort of thing, and certainly not somewhere you would hide plot-relevant information because it feels almost like penalizing those who only bought the base game when really your whole story should be included in the base game. It wasn't that offensive of a choice before this moment where the players who bought the base game and supported this series got to make the decision that impacted things, but only the one. 2 of them are in the DLC, and you're going to have to set them manually, probably in just a menu, rather than having the emotional impact of experiencing Solus's betrayal for yourself. Narratively, it's a weird choice, but BioWare has sort of been on one lately. Between high turnover rates with their team, layoffs, and plenty of delays during development that started all the way back in 2015, the hype for the game is still high, but fans are skeptical of BioWare handling this title well. And on the note of game companies that aren't quite living up to their reputation, Annapurna Interactive is really going through it since the entire team stepped down in September over a dispute with the owner. The talent behind Stray, Cocoon, and Lorelei and the Laser Eyes have all left this indie game publisher. While Annapurna has projects stuck in limbo and mostly they're scrambling to rebuild their team, the employees that left put together a fund to help each other out and seem to be planning to start their own game publishing company under Nathan Gary, the leader they walked out with. Outside help has been supporting Annapurna Interactive as it attempts to get back on its feet, but the publishing company may or may not recover from this blow to its reputation. On a happier note, we do have a new game in the Legend of Zelda series. Echoes of Wisdom features the princess as the main character, rather than being kidnapped like she has been in most installments of the game. This time she's front and center. And they are calling back to a more nostalgic style of recent games. Although to me personally, it also sort of reminds me of Minish Cap because of the top-down style, so there are lots of games going back that have that similar design, aesthetic, and interface. After Zelda's character assassination in Spirit Tracks, it's really refreshing to see her as the main character, not a side character, and hopefully her personality will be given some real attention so we can enjoy everything she has to offer. Of course, the game has been released recently, and speedrunners are doing their utmost to break the game in stellar style, because where would we be without our speedrunners making a meme of everything? As another way to connect different generations of Zelda games, they are offering a Zelda Wanted poster tote bag in the My Nintendo store for North America. By earning platinum points in various ways, players can get this retro poster tote bag without having to spend any money at all. And that's the most exciting part of it. It's exclusive, it's something you earn, and who doesn't love Zelda? Ending on where movies and games meet, the Minecraft movie's expectations are pretty much rock bottom at this point. It's supposed to be released in April 2025, and while the aesthetic does have some potential in this blocky game, they're running into problems. Having a silent protagonist played by Jack Black, of all people, has most of the fandom dreading this movie rather than looking forward to it. The humor that Black usually has in his movies doesn't really connect with the Minecraft fandom either, and if you add in the drama he had recently with the Tenacious D tour being cancelled in July, it just doesn't bode well for this movie, which was first announced in 2014, so people will have waited more than 10 years to see it. And that gives the fandom plenty of time to envision something more exciting or better than what they're going to get, or what they seem to be getting. A lot of the fandom is comparing it to The Birth of Man, a fan-funded movie posted on YouTube in April 2014, and they prefer that. If you need something to soften the blow as far as video game movies go, the Super Mario Bros. 2 movie will be released a year later, so there will be something to look forward to in the distant future. You can treat yourself right now by subscribing to Nami Nation on any platform that we have, where you get your podcasts or videos, and take a look at the KKP YouTube channel for our other content. See you later!